So how did I get into fitness? That's a good question. That one takes me back to when I think I was in grade 4, 3 or 4, and it was like springtime, as I remember. It was warm, and our gym class had gone to the track. There was a track right by our school, and I decided I didn't want to do whatever they were doing. And I don't recall even what they were doing, soccer maybe or something. And I decided I didn't want to do it, and I was going to run the track. And when you're 8 or 9 years old, that track's 400 meters is a long way. And I ran it. I remember running it once, and then the second time and the third time I ran it, the whole class just went. And I remember there was they were fixing this little short fence. It's about, the yay high around the track, and part of it was, out on the track itself. And I remember tripping over it on the fifth or sixth time going around because I was so tired. My head was down. I wasn't looking where I was going. But my big thing was I wasn't going to stop, and I didn't stop the whole time. I think I ran it six or eight times. It was in that number, and I just liked the fact that I was challenging myself. It was a challenge. I was like, this is it. I've made up my mind. I'm doing this, and I'm not damn well stopping. And I remember getting on the bus afterwards, and my legs just felt like jello. They were just shaking. I was sore, had a headache. But at the same time, I felt very accomplished. I felt like I'd done something. And then from then on, I liked running, and I ran a lot. And I wasn't particularly good at it. I ran track. I wasn't really very good at track. I liked hard work, though. I liked running until I felt I was going to get sick. It just kind of clicked with me. Anyway, you flash forward a little bit, and my brother got a weight set for Christmas when I was a kid, and he started lifting weights. I probably, at this point, I'm 10 or 11, and I remember him lifting weights, and I was hanging out with him. The thing is 5 years older than I am, and I would hang out with him when I lifted weights. I remember him doing bench press for like 60 pounds, and which seemed like a lot to me. And then when he went to university, I would have been 14, and it was about Christmas, or November 14. For whatever reason, I mean, that weight bench was in the hallway upstairs, and I went up and I moved everything off it, and I remember started to work out. I did 20 pounds, I think it was, per side. So it's probably 25 with the bar on bench press, and I was so sore the next day. But it just, something clicked. And I'd seen some bodybuilding magazines around this point too, where I'd seen guys like Lee Haney and Bob Paris and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And once you start seeing guys like that, I wasn't watching the Arnold movies at the time, really. I think I saw one. I saw Commando, which I didn't like. It was just too violent for me. I didn't like the violence of it. I watched that with my friend Keith O'Brien, actually, at his house on video. I watched Commando. I didn't like all the violence, but I liked Arnold being jacked. That spoke to me. And I started to work out at 14, and I worked out. I had no idea what I was doing. I had a couple old bodybuilding magazines. I followed some of those routines. I didn't know how to squat, really. I didn't know that chin-ups worked your back. I thought they were for biceps and shoulders. I kid you not, I remember thinking, I'm working those biceps and shoulders now. Because I had a chin-up bar. It was hooked up in my brother's, the doorway to my brother's room, and I'd do chin-ups there. And that progressed. I worked out at home for a while. And when I was in, from, I guess, grade 9 on, and just doing more and more and more, I started doing lunges and sprints. And at the same time, you have to remember, I was interested in fitness, but it was a means to an end for me. I loved football. I loved basketball. I liked basketball, but I loved football, and I wanted to play football in college. And I knew that, I had to train for this, so I would, run hills until I got sick. I'd do sprints all the time, and all this stuff that I would do, it was all aimed at football, in my mind anyway. And as I got, I hit grade 12, I think, and some of my friends, they were in a similar boat. We were young boys. Your testosterone levels way up, and you want to lift weights, and they knew I was lifting weights. And we decided we were going to buy some equipment. We found a place it was about an hour from where we were in Antigonish. We had a bunch of old gym equipment. We were going to buy that gym equipment. It was like $1,000. And, we didn't have $1,000. But we were smart enough to decide we were going to do something to make this work. So we actually put on a dance at the community center and made enough money on the dance to buy the gym equipment. What's funny is we never put on another dance. Like, it never clicked through in our head that, hey, this is a business proposition. Like, we could make some more money on this if we're smart, but we didn't, because we didn't think about that. We just wanted to buy the gym equipment. We brought the gym equipment back and cleaned it up and sanded off the rust. A bunch of it was rusty and beat up. And I remember the 60-pound dumbbells. You had to be careful you didn't cut yourself on them. And we, had some mirrors. My friend Francis, the mirror fell on and cut his hand. It was a mess. But we set it up in the upstairs of their place called the JRA, which is the Judic Recreation Association. And they had a building. It was really it was a garage, basically, with a room up top, but just a big low ceiling room. Pardon me, that overlooked the track, and there were a bunch of stairs going up to it, no bathroom or anything. And we convinced them that they should let us put the gear there, and that's what we did. We put all the gear there, and we set up a gym, and we brought up some space heaters for the winter time, and we started to work out there. And it became sort of this thing where people from the community would use it too, because we didn't care if you were using our equipment. It was kind of like, whatever. And over time, we all had keys, and we could all get in and work out there, and that's what we did. And I would do that in the summers, right until I was 22 years old and I moved away from home. I would go back there, and we would work out all the time. And what's funny is now there's more gear there, actually. There's actually more gear than there was before. They bought more. They cleaned the place up, painted the walls. The walls were like, chipboard when I was there. And it had a kind of a maroon floor. And they've cleaned it up since then. And, it still exists, which is pretty cool. The people in the area can, have a gym to use. And that I was part of it, and that there's some of the gear was still there. But that's where I started. That's how the whole thing started. It started right with my brother's gym equipment in the house, having no idea what to do. Remember the first time I benched 60 pounds, I was so proud of myself. Did 66 reps with 60 pounds on a bar. And I was super proud of myself. I thought it was He-Man. I really did. I thought I was the biggest, strongest guy in the world when I did that. And it, progressed from that into basically what's funny is owning a gym, buying equipment and being part of this group that bought the equipment for the gym at 18 years old, which is, I think I was 17 when we put it together, because it was the fall. So I wasn't even 18 years old when I did that. So it's funny to flash forward all these years later and actually own a gym, and this is what I do for a living. The fact that it started, upstairs at my parents' place on an old Joe Weider bench, and then progressed into, buying a bunch of old beat up equipment at the Judic Recreation Association, spot. That it kind of, it boggles the mind a little bit. It's amazing what you start and what you end up with, which is no mean to say I'm a finished product, but it's interesting to me to see that and realize that, that was something that, has been there from the time I'm 14. I'm 47 years old now. From the time I'm 14 till I'm 47, and I'm still in love with fitness. Because somewhere along the line, it stopped being about football and started being about just the actual work. Just like running around the track as a kid, it wasn't about going fast. It was about just doing work. For whatever reason, I just like the work.